I am almost getting goosebumps listening to this. And Sid, I know that everything that you're saying is aren't just words, they're coming from the heart.
Yeah,
And I know
yeah.
what this means to you. And I think that leads to my next question. And you were honest in your assessment. You were expecting Indian men's team to come back with a medal, the women's
Yeah.
team to progress from what they did in Rio, but you were okay if they finished in the group stages. But what
Yeah.
they did was the unthinkable, both these teams.
Yeah.
In these 5 years, what changed? This newfound self-belief.
Yeah.
They were willing to put their bodies on the line. Amit Roy Das
Yeah.
running in on a penalty corner, doesn't matter what's coming his way. He's willing to take everything for the country.
Yeah.
Our flag flickers, our goalkeepers were exceptional. The captains were inspirational. There was belief that was probably never there before. And
Yeah.
I'm not even getting to the physical aspect. We saw the fitness on display.
Yeah.
It just felt like it's a team that was waiting to show the world what they're capable of.
Yeah.
And that was a breath of fresh air. It took all of India by surprise.
Mm.
What changed in these 5 years?
Excellent question, Nav, but you've got your timing wrong. The question has to go further back. You have to really rewind. Uh, 2010 is the seminal moment for me for the men's. 2014 is the moment for me for the women's. Usually, when you put in place a high performance system, it takes 8 to 10 years for it to show results. High performance systems are not instant coffee. You do not get results overnight. 8 to 10 years is the average time. When Indian Hockey appointed Jose Brasa, an FIH master coach, for the first time we had scientific advisors come into Indian hockey. The system was changed, or rather was changing. Move on 2 years after that, we got Michael Knobs come in with a man who I will be talking about in this answer a little bit later. His name is David John. He came on board as a scientific advisor. You may be interested to know now, I'm just digressing a little because your background is cricket. David John's PhD thesis was actually on how fast bowlers can avoid injuries by correcting critical movement patterns. He had a cricket background, but in Australia, South Africa, they switch from one sport to the other. Expertise goes from one sport to the other. So David got into hockey full time. He's still in hockey. In fact, Shoaib, Mudley, when these guys used to go to the ICC workshop in Australia to correct their action, it used to actually be David who they used to go to.
Okay.
Yeah, so he had a hardcore cricket background. That's the link between Indian hockey and cricket, actually. But yeah, the system was changed in 2010.
Okay.
And right on cue, in 10 years' time, we've got a result. We've got a medal after 40 years. Remember, the Olympics got delayed by a year. That is no fault of the system. This should have been in 2020. This should have been last year. Indian hockey team was in riveting form. Indian hockey team was roaring last year. Remember, Indian hockey team has gone into this competition in 2021, not with a lot of competition because of COVID. People were not willing to come to India. We couldn't go abroad a lot. We did go to Argentina for a 4-match series. We stopped over in Europe for a little bit. But to be fighting fit, a hockey team has to play between 30 to 35 international matches a year. That's usually the average. But that's what changed. The system was changed to a high performance system. What do I mean by that? There is an office that is created of the high performance director. The high performance director is basically, if I were to use the terms of warfare and defense,
Yeah.
The coach of the team or the chief coach of a team is basically the captain of the ship. He is the guy who's got his hands on the wheel. He is the tactical guy. He is the one who tinkers in matches. Your high performance director is the admiral sitting in the headquarters who has a hawk eye view of the entire fleet, not just a ship. He is in charge of your junior team. He's in charge of your scientific program. He's in charge of your senior team. He's in charge of, very importantly, long-term planning. So we had two exceptional high-performance director, one Roland Oltmans, and the second is David John. David does not come from a hockey background, but he comes from a hardcore science background. He's a PhD. Roland is a hardcore hockey guy. He was also chief coach of the Indian men's team. For the women's, the high performance system was put in place 4 years later by an Australian, Neil Hogwood, in 2014-15. So that's why the women's achievement is so special, because they are ahead of the curve. This, what we are seeing now in Tokyo, should have happened 3 years later in Paris. They would have hit the 10-year mark. That is what is so special about this. That is why this should be celebrated, because they are ahead of the curve. The Indian men's hockey team is on cue. It's been 8 years, 10 years since the high performance program has been put in place. The results will come. They are coming. For the women, they are ahead of the curve. That's what changed now. We've put in place a world-class high performance system where there are customized training programs, there are customized nutrition programs, there are customized, uh, you know, peaking programs when the team is to peak, which tournaments we will target 4 years later, how this team will be, who will enter it, who will exit it. There is some very, very high level planning that's going on. You will not get results without that. That's what's changed. And it's interesting, you're not the only one who asked that. Of course, you're not a full-time journalist, so it should not be your job. But a lot of journalists are now coming back to me and saying, okay, you said we have not done our jobs. Tell us what has changed. So I said, A, it should have been your job to report this while you were writing obituaries on Indian hockey. This is what was going on in the background. Second, sure, be my guest. I'll tell you what's changed in Indian hockey. This is what's changed. Uh, and yeah, it's as good a high performance program as any in the world right now.